really stickled for every minute, every precision, every detail, every minute. Dr. Rukshada, thank you very, very much. Indeed, grateful and a pleasure and honor to associate with you in the organization of the conference or whatever little I could contribute. Thank you very much. And it's my pleasure and honor to invite you on the dais. Dr. Smita Deshpande, we heard her, who's the co-organizing chairperson, and of course, needs no words, no introduction, a very humble, a very down-to-earth, but very, very sound academician. Ma'am Smita Deshpande, if you are here, may I request you to take position on the dais. And of course, the program got drafted, got implemented with the support and the blessings and the supervision of Dr. G. Prasad Rao. Again, a very approachable man, a very humble man, almost relates to you like a friend, makes you forget the decades of seniority that he brings across and the experience that he brings across on the table. What a joy and honor to connect with you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And of course, the Joint Secretary of the IABP, Dr. Abdul Majid, who is also a dear friend, and may I request Dr. Majid to be here, Dr. Majid, the Honorary Treasurer of IABP, Dr. Prasenjit Ghosh, the Honorary Editor, Dr. Aleem Siddiqui, who was also with us this morning chairing the session. Dr. Siddiqui, thank you very much for being here. And of course, last but not the least, the organizing Joint Secretary, Dr. Ankit Gupta. If you're here, may I request you, Dr. Ankit Gupta, to be on the dais. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here and for the enlightenment and support we get from you always. It is now my duty to invite the organizing chairperson, Dr. Sunil Mehta, to take over and address us. Dr. Sunil Mehta.
Dr. Raisa, may I request you to kindly call Dr. E. Mohan Das also on the dais as our past president and chairman.
Of course, sir. Dr. Mohan Das, sir, can I see you, sir?
Please,
I am there
yes,
with
sir.
you always.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Please be on the dais, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Over to Dr. Sunil. Sir, you have to unmute yourself.
I was not muted. Muted. Thank you, Deepak, and welcome everyone to the closing ceremony of the 17th Annual National Conference of the Indian Association of Biological Psychiatry. What a remarkable journey this has been over the last 2 days. Amazing. As I welcome our chief guest, Dr. Afzal Javed, our dear friend, who's the president of the World Psychiatric Association, to this closing ceremony and also to give his valedictory oration. And also our guest of honor, Dr. B.N. Gangadhar, who is he is a Padma Shri awardee, as well as he is the president of the board, which is for medical registration and ethics in the National Medical Council. So he has an important position. We are proud that a psychiatrist is there. And his work, and he's one of the founding board members of IABP. So welcome, sirs, to this closing ceremony. And suffice to say that the IABP is coming of age, is turning 18. It's been a long journey, and we have had in our patrons, Dr. Neena Bora, Dr. N.K. Bora, Dr. Rajesh Nagpal, Dr. Anukan Mittal, and of course, Dr. E. Mohan Das and Dr. Prasad Rao, who have nurtured and nourished this. And now the leadership is under the aegis of our president, Dr. U.C. Garg, who's along with the whole entire team put together this excellent program, which reflected the DNA of IABP, which is science. We have had a large registration, 2,123 to be precise. In fact, yesterday at the inaugural oration, the Dr. Lakshmi Atham remarked that online conferences are drawing less and less number, and here the number is huge. It only shows the interest in biological psychiatry, which is the future of psychiatry. And of course, it may collaborate, it may intersect with other branches of psychiatry, but this is where the future is. And at any given time, the attendance, login attendance, was 500 or so at any given time. That's also large attendance to go by. We've had a huge feast, interventional psychiatry, neuromodulation, deep DBS, deep brain stimulation, biomarkers and translational biomarkers in schizophrenia, in depression, pharmacogenomics, stem cell, in psychiatry, OCD, neuro-COVID, and of course also the neurobiology of mental well-being. And to top that, also ethical issues. So it's been huge. And we've had a large number of youngsters also participating with their otherwise too, with free papers and posters, which have filled the 2 halls, and a quiz, more than 50 people participating in the quiz, 4 excellent papers competing for the prestigious Asha Award. This is what IABP is. This is what the biological psychiatry science is here today, sir. The erudite presidential address yesterday on personalized psychiatry, personalized treatment in psychiatry, covering the whole gamut of treatments available, was where the future direction is, and IABP is ready to cooperate. Yesterday at the inaugural address, in the kind remarks that Dr. Pratibha Murthy, yesterday's guest of honor, made, that from the first IABP conference in 2005 to now, she's seen the whole transition take place. And Dr. Lakshmi Atam remarked that we have a larger role to play. We can contribute a lot in different ways in clinical research and so on in biological psychiatry. So IABP is ready to contribute to the world arena of biological psychiatry. We have scientists, we have great people who have a deep insight and understanding of biological psychiatry. And going forward, just to elaborate, sir, for your information, there is monthly first Friday CME that IABP holds. There will be a midterm CME. So there are 12 CMEs spread over every month, a midterm CME, and there is a proposal to have international CMEs on the IABP, the Indian Association, having tie-up with other country associations of biological psychiatry for exchange of ideas, of science, of learning. And then of course, with this, we are also looking forward to playing a better role, a bigger role in the World Federation of Societies of Biological Psychiatry. And not to forget, IABP is soon going to have its own journal, tentatively called the Archives of Biological Psychiatry. So that's the whole arena that's in front of us. And this has been an amazing journey last 2 days. We look forward to your participation in the next Indian Association of Biology Psychiatry Annual Conference next year too, and all the other programs. With this, I welcome you again to this closing ceremony. Like I said, all good things must come to an end. So this 2-day journey is also coming to an end. Thank you very much. Back to you, Deepak.
Thank you very much, sir, for your ever so style of delivering a very, very refreshing speech. Thank you very much. Honored. I would fail in my duties if I do not step forward and invite our patrons to share their remarks with us. Dr. Neena Bora, are you here, ma'am? Is she here?
I think she could not join. I think Dr.
Okay. Dr. Rajesh Nagpal, please. Dr. Rajesh Nagpal.
He's not there, sir.
He's also not there?
Yeah, he's in some other meeting.
Okay. So we proceed, and I would now like to invite Dr. G. Prasad Rao to come and announce the winner of various awards, which includes the oral paper, the poster, the quiz, and the Asha Award. Dr. G. Prasad.
Thank you, Deepak. It's as you said, all good things have to come to an end. I'm doing the better part of announcing the best among the presenters. But before that, my respects to the President, Dr. Uttam Garg, Dr. Sunil Mittal, my mentor, Mohan Das, and of course, our ever friend, always friend, Afzal Javed, who is here, and Dr. B.N. Gangadhar, Padma Shri Gangadhar, for being the guest. First, we'll start with the oral paper winners. This time, actually, we have to screen because of time, and the first prize goes to Namit Gautam from New Delhi for the paper on inhalant-induced major neurocognitive disorder presenting as a substance-induced psychosis, a case report. And the second prize in the free papers goes to Dr. Chanakya Bharadwaj from Tejpur, in which the Association of BDNF for positive and negative symptoms domain in patients has been presented. And for the free poster winners, this time there are huge 22 posters presented. The first prize goes to Dr. Snigdha Avasti from Visakhapatnam, she presented a rare case of vocal tics in treatment naive patients with schizoaffective disorder. And the second prize, actually, there's so much of a tie, so we have to give much more prizes. So second prize goes to Harvi Shah from Ahmedabad, who talked about post-fossa arachnoid cyst in a pediatric case of psychosis. But we also thought two close runner-ups have to be announced because of there's not much of a difference between the scoring. Dr. Suvidha Bhavanagar and Dr. Vijay from Lucknow are the close runner-ups. And finally, coming to the most prestigious award for the young scholars of biological psychiatry, this year the award goes to, and I might say there were 11 judges and total 6 papers presented, out of which 2 were pre-screened out, 4 were presented today, and there was a real tie, and Dr. Sriraj V.S. paper and et al. From NIMHANS paper on resting state functional connectivity correlates of antipsychotic treatment in unmedicated schizophrenia won the award. I would like to thank from this forum all the judges and all the participants for this. Thank you, Dr. U.C. Garg, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Prasad Rao, sir. Now, as the afternoon moves on, I would like to now invite our energetic and smiling honorary secretary to give a report of the conference and to please introduce our esteemed guest of honor, Dr. B.N. Pradam Shri, Dr. B.N. Over to you, Dr. You have to unmute yourself. Rukshita, you have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute.
Yes. For some reason, my window just shrunk. Thank you so much, Dr. Raheja. It's just like Dr. Sunil Mittal said, that it's been a remarkable journey. At the outset, please allow me to acknowledge all our dignitaries, our chief guest, Dr. Afzal Javed, all the way joining us on a Sunday early morning. So thank you very much. Our guest of honor, our very own Dr. B.N. Gangadhar, sir. Our chairperson of the founding board's member, Dr. Venugopal Jhawar, could not join us today, but he does send his best wishes. Our president, Dr. U.C. Garg, sir, I'm every day that I keep thinking about it, I'm at a lesser loss of words about him. Our vice president, Dr. Sunil Mittal, and Dr. Pramod Kumar, who couldn't join us unfortunately today. And our joint secretary, Dr. Majid, our honorary editor, Dr. Alim Siddiqui, and our treasurer, Dr. Prasanjit Ghosh. The organizing committee has been phenomenal with our patrons, like I said, like Dr. Raheja already said, Dr. Neena Bohra and Dr. Rajesh Nagpal. They couldn't join us today, but we're very happy that they have always been supportive and a blessing, and all their blessings have been with us. The organizing chairperson, Dr. Sunil Mittal, has been wearing a lot of hats, like we know, and Dr. Deepak Raheja needs no words. He's a multi-talented man who's been conducting the show today very, very ably. And Dr. Smita Deshpande, ma'am, she's the co-chairperson of the organizing committee. And again, she wears a lot of hats because she's also the EC member of our Iabp, and at the same time, she's also on multiple committees. Dr. Ankit Gupta is our organizing joint secretary. Because of the efforts of the organizing secretary, the conference today was accredited with 3.5 credit hours by Delhi Medical Council. And just like you've already heard, that we had a whopping number of more than 2,100 registrations for this conference, which frankly took all of us by surprise, but we feel very, very validated. Dr. Mittal already told us that we've had this amazing symposium on neuromodulation, which is an emerging field. We had invited talks on DBS and neurocognitive symptom. There were so many people lined up to listen to Dr. Imohan Das and Dr. Rajesh Nagpal speaking on neurobiology of well-being, stem cells and psychiatry, fear extinction, pharmacogenomics, translational biomarkers. Just like Dr. Prasad Rao said, that we had 6 oral papers and 22 posters, 6 Asha Awards, and we had 64 contestants for our quiz. All the winners will receive bragging rights and a small cash prize to treat their friends with. We definitely want to acknowledge in our honorary secretary report our judges. Dr. Jyoti Shetty, she's a head of department at Bharati Pune. Dr. Hema Tharoor, she's a senior psychiatrist and attached at SCARF Chennai. Dr. Hina Pandit, associate professor at San Hospital in Mumbai. Dr. Shahul Amin, who's an editor of a very prestigious journal from Kerala. Dr. Ashutosh Shah, consultant psychiatrist from Mumbai. Dr. Junaid Nabi, he was the youngest judge judging this time from Srinagar. Dr. Smita Deshpande ma'am, Dr. Mamta Sood ma'am from AIMS, and Dr. Vivek Agarwal from King George's Lucknow. We really acknowledge their presence and their hard work, and extend a warm bouquet of gratitude to them. The inauguration was by Professor Lakshmi Yatham, sir. He again on a Saturday morning joined us all the way from Canada and delivered a wonderful inaugural oration. And our guest of honor, Dr. Prabhuma Murthy, in her usual warm and encouraging style, shared remarks as well. The presidential address again was a feast for all of us to listen to and to acknowledge. Dr. Garg spoke on precision medicine in psychiatry, which was very well received and was also touched upon by the chief guest, Dr. Lakshmi Yatham as well. And right just after he finished, we all got a letter of congratulations from Dr. Yatham to Dr. Garg on his delivery of his presidential address. With that, I end my report, but certainly not. We still have a lot to look forward to. And over to you, Dr. Deepak Raheja. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rukshada. As ever, very, very crisp, very concise, and summed up the last 2 days so very beautifully. Thank you very much. And I'm going to copy paste that little quote, that little mention that you gave when you were talking about Dr. Gangadhar. You said, our very own Dr. B.N. Gangadhar. So, guest of honor, our very own Dr. B.N. Gangadhar, who's made us so proud, and the chair of the top medical position in the country today, who's a Padma Shri. Sir, may I please request you on behalf of Iabp to deliver a talk to us. Thank you very much, sir.
At the outset, let me thank Rukshada, who personally called me and made me commit to this program. Although I must admit that I have not been continuously participating. I keep hearing, because of a team from NIMHANS made a presentation, neuromodulation. I had interactions with some of them as to what they were going to be talking about, but with the others, I did not. Although I partly, I heard about Dr. Nagpal's talk on neurobiology of wellness or health, well-being, but others I couldn't. So I am partly guilty for not totally participating. So Dr. Rukshada made me commit to this program, and I'm happy. Thank you, Rukshada, for particularly inviting me to this program, at least to be in the valediction. If not, whatever the reason, I couldn't participate in the entire thing. I know there are stalwarts who are there in the dais today. Dr. Afzal Javed, Dr. Prasad Rao, Dr. Mohan Das, Dr. Raheja, and Dr. Sunil Mittal, and of course, Dr. Uttam Garg, who has been the brain behind the entire program. Let me say namaskarams to each one of them for being with me in this final program. The contents of what have happened, of course, would have inspired a lot of people into researching in the area of biological psychiatry. When we use this word biological psychiatry, I'm reminded of someone who recently met me about 3-4 years ago in one of the conference, saying that, sir, I think you should strongly propose biological psychiatry. You seem to have moved away from biology research to spiritual research in yoga, etc., etc. And he was sort of disappointed that I had, from his description, moved away from biology to spiritualism, etc., etc. So I was talking to him and I was saying that biology is biology, and I don't know whether even psychiatry, you should actually give an adjective of biological psychiatry. Psychiatry indeed is biological. So I think that he came back after an hour or so saying that this is so important that psychiatry should be seen as a biological subject. Why are we using the word unnecessarily biological psychiatry? So in that 1 hour, I don't know what transpired between my conversation with him, and an hour later, he comes back and tells me that whether biological psychiatry as a special name is required for psychiatry. Leave this philosophical discussion apart. I'm also reminded of my younger days when I had just then joined psychiatry PG. At NIMHANS, there was a great, what should I say, very serious discussion that was going on between biological psychiatry and social psychiatry. There was a group of people who were strongly protagonists of biological psychiatry and a group of people who were strongly protagonists of social psychiatry. Okay, this is an afterthought. Whether the schism was there or not, why it should be there is a different issue. And having come straight from MBBS days to psychiatry, I wondered whether any other branch would be called as biological. Is there anything called as biological cardiology, biological medicine, biological surgery? Everything is biology. I thought, why people are preoccupied with biological psychiatry and everything else is biological? I had just then come from medicine. So I went on to discuss with, I had a very, very good friend, of course, he's no more today. Of course, those days he was my senior, he was a senior resident, Dr. Nityanand Pradhan. So I had to share this concern with him. Why are you calling psychiatry biological? After all, psychiatry is a part of medicine, medical subject. I come from MBBS. Why are you all having this debate today? So then he went on to tell me a lot of things. Of course, his thinking process was much different from what I could comprehend. But the matter is true today also, that entire psychiatry is in fact biological. And most of what I ended up studying in yoga and applications to psychiatry was indeed only biological mechanisms of yoga, etc., etc. And that's the reason why I was interested to actually completely listen to Dr. Nagpal's talk, but couldn't, the biological basis of well-being. So having said this, I will probably allude to one topic, one session of this conference before closing my talk. This is about neuromodulation. Neuromodulation, the speakers presented on TDCS, TMS, and various advances in various modulatory approaches and so on. While listening to them now, and of course, while this talk of neuromodulation was going on and on and on in the last maybe 10 years or so at NIMHANS, many of my colleagues who are now colleagues, those days, they were all some of them are my students and some of them were my junior colleagues now, who each one of them have their own, carved their own niche in the area of biological research in psychiatry. They have made big names, of course, and rightly you have invited all of them to come and speak in this conference. It was a good decision that this neuromodulation, one session was there. but I wanted to see what applications in psychiatry could not be seen as neuromodulation. When I was discussing this maybe some 7-8 years ago, when this word neuromodulation was going on and on and on in many brains, many discussions, many corridor talks, many seminars, journal clubs, I was saying that every intervention in psychiatry is neuromodulation. There could be a pharmacological neuromodulation. The good part of it is bringing about antipsychotic effects in schizophrenia. After giving the antipsychotic drugs, 6, 7, 8 weeks later, the symptoms have changed. Again, neuromodulation, pharmacological neuromodulation. If it goes on adversely, you end up in tardive dyskinesia. Non-pharmacological neuromodulation, we talked about all these things that you discussed, TMS, etc., etc. Then there is also an autogenous neuromodulation, which I'm talking about, the yoga, meditation. These also bring about changes, very lasting, both physiological, chemical, and even structural changes in the brain. So what is not neuromodulation in the strict sense? However, invasive or non-invasive neuromodulation, when we talk about, we conventionally refer to these procedures of TMS, TDCS, and so on. And of course, invasive neuromodulation, which include vagal nerve stimulation or even deep brain stimulation and so on and so forth. We also talked about direct and indirect neuromodulation. We also talked about autogenous, although we did not mention it here in this conference. There are several components of neuromodulation which come into play, but nonetheless, the contents of what they spoke, they shared it with me. I was quite impressed. Also, I had a glimpse of 1 or 2 other presentations. Biological psychiatry, like Dr. Sunil Mittal was saying, has grown leaps and bounds in Indian psychiatric circles, that close to 5 millennia, 5,000 people registered, as Dr. Ksheda mentioned, is a testimony to how much of growth that has happened in biological psychiatry in our country. I'm sure more and more research in the biology of mental disorders, treatments, and so on and so forth will actually make psychiatry a much more attractive subject to the medical students who are in search of something new and something innovative and something, in quotes, biological. Fortunately for me, the college where I studied, they did not think psychiatry is a non-biological subject. They never used the word biological psychiatry. Psychiatry was part of several other subjects of medicine in our medical college. And so perhaps it automatically attracted me to join psychiatry. But subsequent discussions, confusions, controversies, of course, has made psychiatry as a science profession very, very vibrant, very, very novel, and very innovative. A lot of innovations have, of course, come from these things. I wish the biological psychiatry group all the best. I thank Ruksheda for calling me. I also thank Dr. Uttam Garg, who is the major organizer of this program, for letting me come in. And I'm fortunate that I'm amidst stalwarts who are sitting on the dais with me. Once again, wish you all the best, and many, many thanks, and happiest Navaratri season for those of you who are celebrating. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you very much, sir. I couldn't be more captured by a statement like what in psychiatry is not biological, or what in terms of neuromodulation is not an intervention. I think it sounds in sync, and if we believe in the basic tenets of biology, we will retain the growth and popularity and the confidence which we have, but also are able to impart it to the general medical fraternity about the solidity of the biological basis of psychiatry. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing the occasion. And when it comes to talk about biological psychiatry, when it comes to talk about the harbinger of a very strong, forceful presentation of biological psychiatry in our country and internationally. When it comes to talk about our very own and a little bit more of our very own, the name that comes to me is Dr. Mohandas, who's a founding member of the Iabp and many other organizations in this country, a very strong supporter and perpetrator of biological basis of psychiatry. I don't think this program would be complete without getting the address from Dr. Mohandas. Sir, may I please request you to grace us with a few words about your understanding and what you would like to share. Thank you, sir. Dr. Mohandas.
Dear Gangadhar, Afzal, Reheja, Prasad, Majid, MS Reddy, Sunil Mittal, Rajesh, I don't know whether he's there, Anugan Mittal, Venu, he could not be there. And yesterday I told the initial address, it so happened sometime back in Korea, I had to sit with Professor Joseph Zohar and discussed how to start it. Then we started the proceedings of this thing. Then in rational recognition, we got through Siegfried Casper when we were in Vienna. We talked about it, and the first meeting of Indian Association of Biological Psychiatry was done. The conference was done in Digha, where yesterday I mentioned about Pradima Murthy. She's the current director. She was a speaker, and Joseph Sohar also was there. And we had good representation in World Federation of Biological Psychiatry, even WPA, Afzal knows it, and many other platforms, EANP, we had our own presence felt. Now it is time that the current, this conference, we have seen plenty of aspirants, enthusiasts, and good presentations, and the next generation. We have just laid down the stones, but it is up to them to carry forward. There are very good centers, and the technology has advanced, and I hope new team, new organizers, new faces, we let them also take the leadership like Rukshita, Rahesh, Garg, Sunil Mittal and others. Sunil Mittal was there since beginning. And let them all carry other people. Like today, I saw presentation from Sai Krishna. Very good. Sai Tika is very good. Smita is there already, all the presenters. Alim Siddiqui is our editor. And number of people have come forward. I hope in time to come, they will carry the flag flying higher, and it will create a better image of the Indian Association of Biological Psychiatry. I hope Afzal will understand it, and I know Afzal as a brother. He is a brother, and thank you very much. Nothing more to add. Long live biological psychiatry. I don't want to have any discussion, controversies, what BNG has told it, because many of the subspecialty of psychiatry have started not for the basic purpose of the meaning, but basic. Many of the organizations have to come up. Many people have to be given opportunities to do it. That is why many divisions have come up. I will not go to the politics or politricks of this type of division. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for encouraging us and for possessing that faith and trust that we will be able to carry the torch forward. We assure you we will do our best. Thank you very much for your blessings and kind words. And as we move on, the afternoon remains incomplete, and the best opportunity and the best honor and the best enlightenment is when you're inviting the man of the match. And the man of the match is none other than our dear president, Dr. Uttam C. Garg, who I invite to address us, felicitate us, with your kind words and also introduce the chief guest for today. Dr. Garg, sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Deepak. Am I audible?
Very well, sir. Very well.
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries on the dais, honorable chief guest, Professor Afzal Javed, the president of World Psychiatric Association, guest of honor Padma Shri awardee, Professor B.N. Gangadhar, ex-director NIMHANS and president, Medical Assessment and Rating Board, National Medical Commission, India, Vice President, Indian Association of Biological Psychiatry and Chairman Organizing Committee, Dr. Sunil Mittal, patrons of Organizing Committee, Madam Dr. Neena Vohra, Dr. Rajesh Nagpal, Honorary Secretary General IABP, Dr. Ruxida Saida, Co-Chair, Organizing Committee, Dr. Smita Deshpande, Office Bearers, EC members of IABP on the dais, Secretary, Organizing Committee, Dr. Deepak Raheja, Secretary, Joint Secretary, Organizing Committee, Dr. Ankit Gupta, past President, IABP, Dr. E. Mohan Das, Dr. G. Prasad Rao, Dr. M.S. Reddy, esteemed faculties, dear attendees, it is a matter of great pleasure to welcome you all in this closing ceremony of 17th Annual National Conference of Indian Association of Biological Psychiatry, held in New Delhi at a virtual platform. At the outset, let me congratulate all recipients of various awards. Thanks Dr. G. Prasad Rao, Secretary Dr. Ruxida Saida for their great efforts for conducting awards and quiz sessions flawlessly. The IABP started its journey, as Dr. E. Mohan Das said, about 70 years back, led by Dr. E. Mohan Das, Dr. Ankant Mittal, Dr. Rajesh Nagpal, Dr. Sunil Mittal, and some more names. Since then, the association is growing leaps and bounds. This association is committed to achieve its aims and objectives by promoting and advancing biological psychiatry as a specific field of interest in the psychiatry. So to the overall growth of biological psychiatry in India. And for achieving its goal, IABP has been conducting CMEs, conferences, and instituting awards to encourage original research work. At the same time, I am very much happy to share that very soon the Scientific Journal of IABP is coming out for publishing research work in India. 17th Annual National Conference of IABP is a very special, as it is going to be addressed by two world leaders of psychiatry. Yesterday it was President World Federation of Societies of Biological Psychiatry, Professor Lakshmi N. Yatham, and today is WPA President Dr. Afzal Javed. Further, this conference is special not only that it is being attended by more than 2,100 delegates, but being accredited by DMC for 3.5 hour credit points. I have full liberty to declare that this success of conference is because of the pains taken by Chair Organizing Committee Dr. Sunil Mittal, who happens to be Vice President of IABP, and Organizing Secretary Dr. Deepak Raheja and their whole team. I must compliment our Chair CME Committee Dr. G. Prasad Rao for charting out the scientific program, and Dr. Ruxida Saida, Secretary General IABP, for executing the program to the most perfection. Dear friends, this is the time to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Afzal Javed. Dr. Afzal Javed has a very special affection to the Indian psychiatry. I am sure he is having a number of friends in Indian psychiatric fraternity, not less than any leader of Indian psychiatry. He possesses the magnetic power to make friends and never loses anyone. His contribution to develop psychiatry in Southeast Asian region is immense. I have an opportunity to interact with Dr. Afzal Sahab first time in 2004, where many of us attended Regional Congress of WP in Lahore, where he was organizing chair. I have very fond memories of superb arrangements, his affection and great hospitality to Indian delegates specifically. Since then, we are meeting almost every year at different platforms. If I go for reading his full CV, probably the whole time of this session will be insufficient. So a very brief customary introduction is as follows. Dr. Afzal Javed is Honorary Clinical Associate Professor, Warwick Medical School, University of Warwick, UK. President, World Psychiatric Association, WPA. Honorary Professor, Institute of Applied Health Research, University of Birmingham, UK. Chairman, Pakistan Psychiatric Research Center, Fountain House, Lahore, Pakistan. He was President, Asian Federation of Psychiatric Association from 2017 to 19. President, World Association for Psychosocial Rehabilitation from 2017 to 19. His major area of interest are in social and transcultural psychiatry, psychosocial rehabilitation, and schizophrenia. Dr. Javed's academic skills have been invaluable when publishing more than 145 scientific papers and being author of 6 books, monographs on different topics of psychiatry. Currently, he is involved in several projects on schizophrenia and different clinical aspects of long-term management of chronic mentally ill in the community. With this brief introduction, I welcome and invite Dr. Afzal Javed Saab to kindly give his valedictory oration.
Over to Dr. Javed Saab.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Garg. I'm so humbled with your kindness and, more importantly, the way you try to corner me for ensuring that I continue with my affection and love with my very dear friends from Indian psychiatry and the Indian psychiatrists. Dr. Rakshinda said that this was an early morning for me, but I take it as a blessing or advantage that I'm starting my day by seeing very dear friends. And that is really a testimony that I will have a good day today. So thank you very much for inviting me. I must confess 2 things. One is that I didn't have a lot of interest in biological psychiatry. And the second confession is that after listening to what was presented in this conference, I really feel very guilty that I have missed not only science, but I also missed the current trends that are important, not only in the field of etiology, understanding mental illnesses, but having an impact on treatment and management of mental disorders. I fully agree what Professor Gangadhar has said. This is a very interesting observation that we are now trying to create pigeonholes for different aspects of our clinical branch of mental health. In the West, of course, people can afford. They have resources, they have got a number of facilities that they can say, I'm a specialist of right hand or I'm a specialist of left hand. But just looking at the Indian subcontinent and also almost 70 to 80% of the population that lives in low and middle income countries, we psychiatrists have to face a very important challenge. We are clinicians, we are teachers, we are researchers, we are mentors. And when it comes to the different branches, we deal with child psychiatry, we deal with adult psychiatry, we deal with old age psychiatry. And then talking about different components actually get more complex. But this is the future, that we have to create a balance in understanding mental health. I always say that if you ask me what is the most important challenge for mental health, I will say this is the concept of mental health and we have not been able to make people understand the importance of mental health. Look at the medical students. They enter medical school and they are taught right from the beginning, this is an etiology and this is the treatment. They are always fascinated by looking at the scientific advances in the medicine. They always prefer to see a disorder or a disease that can be explained on the basis of etiology. Unfortunately, mental health is still in a position that even psychiatrists, you just have 2 or 3 very experienced psychiatrists, there will always be some confusion about the diagnosis. So I think what Dr. Gangadhar has said, that is really a take-home message. That we need to make this specialty, psychiatry as a whole, not only attractive, but also to prove scientific. Why our medical colleagues do not accept us as scientists? Why psychiatry is not taken as an important subject in the undergraduate medical curriculum? I think we have to really give a balanced view. And just listening to what the speakers were saying at this session, we have got enough ammunition to tell people that, look, even if we may not be able to understand 100% the pathophysiology of many of our disorders, but we are almost reaching to some conclusive ideas which will lay foundation for our future psychiatry. And then, similarly, if we do not understand the underlying biological or organic basis of the diseases, it will be very difficult for us to argue and to go for the treatment, which the patients will always ask you that, if you are giving me antidepressant, why are you giving me antidepressant? So I think this balance needs to be practiced. And I must say, our Indian psychiatrist colleagues are well versed with different areas and different aspects of psychiatry. They are in one of the best positions to lead the world, to tell that, look, don't put psychiatry into different compartments. You put it for the sake of explanation. You put it for the sake of interest, but try to make a case that when it comes to the clinical management, we have to be mindful about the underlying biological, organic, or even social causes. I would strongly recommend, on the basis of what Professor Gangadhar has said, I think Indian Psychiatric Society, as well as Biological Psychiatry, Private Psychiatry Association, you should have debate in your meetings so that people, especially our students, PG students, undergraduate medical students, they should understand that why psychiatry is different from other specialties. Professor Gangadhar said that, look, there is no biological cardiology. He is absolutely right. And if he allows me, I will say that psychiatry is such a unique specialty that you will have anti-psychiatry. You don't have anti-cardiology. You don't have anti-diabetology. So this is a sort of a very interesting aspect that we have not been able to go back to our clients, although I don't want to use this term, but this is a term of this economic era. I mean, we have to go to our patients saying that, look, we are not treating you in dark. Our expertise has got a command on all these areas. And I would also request the Biological Psychiatry Association of India. You people have got an excellent group of academics, researchers. It's like a big think tank. I think you should really try to give some time to make sure that how can we popularize psychiatry among medical students. World Psychiatric Association is currently focusing on this important point. We will never ever have enough psychiatrists. And even if you have enough psychiatrists, the waiting time will never be reduced. You just look at the examples of the West. So I think when you only get about 4 or 5% of the medical students interested in psychiatry, what happens to the 90-95%? And these are the people who will be actually fascinated when we tell them that, look, this is neuromodulation. This is the scientific basis of our illnesses. This is how science interacts with the psychosocial aspects. So I'm sure that this society will also keep an eye on promoting science among medical students. I have learned from my Indian colleagues this particular aspect, that they always advise, let's invite some medical students to our congresses. Let's try to invest on not only on PG students, but let's try to invest on the medical students. So I think this is really fascinating, and this is very, very stimulating. And I have got no hesitation to say that I am a part of a team. At least I consider myself a part of all of your team who is striving the best without having enough sources, without having any sort of government or the state support. You people are keeping the flame. Please keep it up and try to understand that until and unless we are not going to make psychiatry an acceptable discipline with our medical colleagues and with the society, we will continue having these debates and we will continue having problems. So thank you very much, UC Garg, Sunil Mittal, very, very, very competent, our young people, Prasad Rao, MS Reddy, Mohandas. I mean, there are so many names. I was a bit reluctant to start naming because I thought that I will miss someone, because I have got an interaction of decades with all of you. And whenever I listen or whenever I attend your deliberations, believe me, I learn something new. And today, after listening to Professor Gangadhar, I am convinced that we have to really start doing something to make sure that we are not giving a one-way message. So thank you very much and congratulations, because now this society has entered into the adulthood. This is a very turmoil period, and I hope that the biological society will be able to overcome the adolescent crisis or the crisis of the early adulthood. But I can assure you that World Psychiatric Association will always support you, will always try to follow the science which you are producing, presenting, and sharing. So thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. Coming from you, that confidence, that trust that you pose in us, it really, really means a lot. And what we clearly saw, the undertones of what you shared, sir, had the same underpinning with which Dr. Gangadhar also shared, that the future is the science, and it is important for us to acknowledge the field of biological psychiatry as psychiatry. Psychiatry is biological, and any intervention is neuromodulation, and that will give us the confidence to be able to take it to our colleagues and to strengthen our position across various other specialties. Thank you very
And
much, sir.
Deepak, if you just allow me, I always tell Mohandas, who's a very, very dear friend, I said, don't say this that you met Casper or you met any other expert. You say they met you.
Perfect.
No, this is very important. This is very important. Tell me how many Gangadhars are in the West? How many Mohandas? How many Pratima Murti? How many Rao Prasad? You see, we have to stand ourselves. So Mohandas, you are not meeting those people, they are meeting you.
I know
Please,
that, man, but I do agree with that because we have met people, but it is the Indian habit of praising others, respecting others. We know what they are talking. We have heard them, but still we bow down, and that is the humility. That, as you have rightly told, many good brains from Gangadhar's, Nimhan's people.
Yeah.
We have got an absolute wonderful team now in Nimhan's. The youngster, especially Venkat Subramaniam and his team. Earlier, it was under the leadership of BNG.
Yeah.
Now, Pratima Murti. Excellent team. Not only in Nimhan's, other parts of India. Many developments are happening. And I hope the new generation, they will say, I am worth of it. We are worth of it.
You
Okay.
are. Don't underestimate yourself. Just one thing. I'm sorry, I don't want to get into the discussions. We were finalizing our plenary lecture speakers for our World Congress next month. The scientific committee asked me that we need some women. I said, take Pramitma Murti. I said, we have to promote our people. And this is the first time in the history of WPA that one Indian brilliant psychiatrist is doing a plenary lecture in the World Congress. This is the recognition. This is the recognition of your talent. Keep it up.
Sir, I mean, in this conference itself, we heard Dr. Mohandas and Dr. Rajesh Nagpal talk about the neurobiology of well-being. But coming from our culture, I don't know if I've missed one such talk, but maybe we need to have a session also highlighting the neurobiology of humility, because that is our underpinning, and that's where we come from. But thank you very much, sir, for always being one of us. Thank you very much, Dr. Afzal Javed, sir, for being here and for always being a part. Thank you very much, sir. And we kept saying all good things must come to an end. And now we are almost actually coming to the end. And as is customary, I would again like to invite Dr. Rukshada to come forward and deliver the vote of thanks. Dr. Rukshada.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raheja. At the outset, just a small reminder that the closing ceremony is not only just by being viewed by us in the faculty room and our delegates who are joining by the delegate link, but this is also being live broadcasted on Facebook and YouTube. So many more people have heard these words of wisdom from Professor Gangadhar, and
almost over 350 people are currently also joining.
Yes, so we wanted to share this with the larger group of psychiatrists who couldn't be or who didn't register as well. So thank you very much, Professor. Before I start the vote of thanks, a quick mention and announcement, because the quiz contest was going on for a little bit longer. So our quiz masters, Dr. Malay Dave from Mumbai, and ably assisted by Dr. Priyanka Banukar, again from Mumbai, conducted the quiz. And like we said, that more than 50 participants, and we had two winners, Dr. Rajamani from a final year resident from CIP Ranchi, and Dr. Nachiketa, who just passed out from Gujarat. And they've been impressive with the scores and the questions that were posed. In fact, just before we were starting the invited session was going on, Dr. Garg was so enamored and interested distracted, and he almost forgot that he should be in another session and was continuing on in the quiz. So thank you so much for that. It's a very pleasant duty for me to acknowledge, appreciate, and express gratitude to everyone who made this conference possible and a success. I thank the entire team, the organizing committee, the office bearers, the executive committee of IABP. They've been working very hard over the last several months to bring together the scientific event in a relatively short duration. Our founding board members have always been so super supportive, as is evident even today. We thank the patronage of Dr. Nina Bohrag and Dr. Rajesh Nagpal. Dr. Garg, our president, is not just a visionary, but he's also a doer. He will plan things, but also execute them. And we will have an idea and he will make it happen. Dr. Nina Bohra is just joining us now, thankfully, so we'll have her on the day soon as well. Dr. Sunil Mittal, who's playing the dual roles today, again, wearing multiple hats as the organizing chairperson and vice president of IABP. He's been the backbone of this entire effort, I must say. The very encouraging, ever encouraging Dr. Smita Deshpande, and who's our co-chairperson, and IABP, the enthusiastic Dr. Deepak Raheja, organizing secretary, and Dr. Ankit Gupta, joint organizing secretary, has been impressive. Their efforts have been amazing, and a heartfelt thanks to all of them. I know I can drive people a little batty and a little crazy with my demands, and I'm so happy that they indulge me in that. I'm so grateful to them. I must also appreciate Dr. Pramod Kumar, our Vice President of IABP, who couldn't join us today, but he was a constant guiding force from the outset, steering us in the right direction, and his invaluable insights from his vast experience. Our Dr. G. Prasad Rao, sir, has not only the man behind the science, but has always been so available to us in spite of his multiple sessions at any given time. He remains so busy but so approachable. Thank you so much, sir. We are humbled by all that you have taught us and all that you want to continue teaching us. Thank you so much, sir. Our scientific knowledge, our knowledge partners, Sun Pharmaceuticals, they've been very supportive with their logistics and supporting us with throughout the conference today. And Intas Pharmaceuticals for especially the Aquila division for promotion of the conference and encouraging more delegates to join in so that we can learn from each other. I couldn't have done any of this. None of us would have been here today without the support team from Medi Square, especially Amita. Huge shout out to her. In the last couple of months, I think she and I have spoken to each other more than we've spoken to our family. So a huge shout out to her. And of course, Zishan is always very sweet, ever accommodating, and with a pleasant smile on his face. And the rest of the team, Azhar and Akanksha, have done a wonderful job with the artwork and the social media posts that have again spread the word. We thank all our faculty, our speakers, our chairs, our judges, and quiz masters. They've made it so possible for us to bring forth the science and the newer innovations, and have been so available to us and made time in all their busy schedules, especially with conference season coming up. Every weekend is busy with so many conferences, but they made time for us. A conference is only impactful when the delegates participate and contribute, and we really thank them. The presenters present, but unless the participants ask a question, the discussion doesn't go forward, and the understanding of the entire presentation is enhanced and better received when there is a Q&A. So thank you so much, delegates. And of course, we have to thank our chief guest, Dr. Afzal Javed, and our guest of honor, Dr. Gangadhar. Sir, we are very grateful for both of you all for making time for us. And with this, we unveil a small token of our expression of our gratitude. If I could please have the scroll. So this is a small gesture from the organizing committee and IABP. This scroll reads, This is in gratitude to Dr. Afzal Javed for honoring us by delivering the valedictory oration at the closing ceremony of the 15th NCIBP. His insightful comments will continue to inspire us all in pursuit of scientific knowledge. Thank you so much, Dr. Professor Afzal Javed. And to our chief guest of honor, Dr. Gangadhar, this is in gratitude to you, sir, our esteemed guest of honor at the closing ceremony. It was a great privilege for all of us in attendance to hear his warm words of wisdom. And thank you so much, sir. We will print this out in a traditional scroll on a silk parchment, and you will receive this in the next couple of weeks, depending on the pandemic delivery system. Thank you so much for being with us today. And with that, I thank our president, Dr. Garg, once again for making all of this possible. Thank you so much, sir. And with this, we pray and hope that all of us continue to fare well and remain safe and with our families with this pandemic. And hopefully in the near future, we will see each other in person. Thank you so much.
Thanks to the team who managed this virtual platform, Mr. Prashant and his team.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, all of you. It's time to say goodbye. Shabba khair. Have a great Sunday. And before we finish, let's all rise for the national anthem. Thank you very much. National anthem.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Have a great Sunday ahead.
See you in late.
See you in late.
After now
Look
COVID,
forward. Look forward.
Let us
Rukshida ji.
physically.
Recording
Let us see you all
stopped.
physically. Thank you very much.
Rukshida ji.
Yes, sir.
मुझे बीच में कई बार कंफ्यूजन ये हुआ कि ये जो आपका फ्रेम है ये मतलब फोटो फ्रेम है या आप हैं यहाँ पे, आप उसको हटा के हम पिक्चर लगा देते